Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. You're watching Rebel Roundup, our daily news and opinion show, and it is Tuesday. So that means I'm joined by my friend in Saskatchewan, Lise Merle. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid, but more importantly, that's Lise Merle. Lise, how's it going?
Well, hello, my dear Sheila Gunn Reid. Can I just say yesterday was about the most perfect day? It was
It was
just such a
nice.
great day. Everything went right yesterday, and I just feel like we have to continue this energy all the way through this week. Okay, we're all just having a fantastic time, all of us together. Um, if if you don't pay too close attention with the actual country being on fire, but it's fine. It's fine. We are all tackling this together, and it's still going to be a great day. Tell us about the show, Sheila Gunn Reid. Tell us about.
Yeah, just moreover to your point, like the day itself, the weather itself was an absolute delight. The sun
Oh,
was shining. It was 25 degrees in the late fall, as far as late fall goes in the prairies. I'm not at my best, but I'm faking it till I make it, and that's the plan. But today and what we're doing here. So,
yeah.
this is Rebel Roundup. As I said, it's our daily news and opinion show wherein we discuss the news of the world completely unscripted. So you're going to get our hot takes, our cold takes, our spicy takes. You're going to take it as we see it. And we want to give you an opportunity to get involved in the show. So if you're watching us on Rumble, and you feel moved by the spirit to support the work that we do at Rebel News, because as you know, we'll never take a penny from the government to do the work that we do. We would never contaminate our work with government cash. So we rely on you at home, but we just don't want to take from you or receive from you is probably a lighter way of putting that. We want to give you something in return, and that is your say. So if you send us a paid chat over at Rumble, it's a Rumble rant. We are hereby obligating ourselves to read your Rumble rant on air if it's over the $5 US cutoff. Now, that cutoff is not set in stone. We frequently make time permitting, to read the chats that fall underneath that. And we even read free chats sometimes if you guys are clever, because we love when you engage with our work because it makes the algorithms serve it up in front of more people. Now, if you are watching us over on YouTube, their paid chat is called a super chat over there. Same rules apply, but there's also another way that you can support us. It's through a paid comment. It's called a super thanks. So I think those are the rules. I don't know if it's my computer making a noise or somebody's computer making a noise, but hopefully somebody's computer doesn't go dead in the middle of the live stream. Let's get into the news. Ezra Levant doing what he does best. Ezra is frequently in the office or on these little missions, but he is great in a press conference. And I love when we get Ezra out of the office into the wild, because Ezra in nature is Ezra in his best element. And when I mean nature, I mean asking politicians tough questions, which is Ezra's nature. So he was at a Poilievre press conference today. I believe it was in Brampton. Brampton's got a lot of problems, all
Mm,
kinds of problems. And he was able to put a question to Pierre Poilievre about the cost of housing. And Mark Carney's handpicked housing minister, Gregor Robertson, who oversaw the explosion of housing prices in the greater Vancouver area,
yeah.
making it one of the most expensive places to live, I think, on the face of the earth. Let's listen.
Hi there, Ezra Levant from Rebel News. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Back in May, Gregor Robertson, Mark Carney's housing minister, was asked if he wanted the price of housing to come down. And he said no. How do you balance reducing the cost of housing for young families, but also protecting what may be the only nest egg for some seniors and boomers? Where do you draw the balance? How would you like to see pricing actually look for the average home in Toronto or Vancouver?
So, first of all, I just think we need to acknowledge that it is incredible that Mark Carney would pick Gregor Robertson as his housing minister after that. When he was the mayor, Vancouver's housing costs went up by 150%, driven almost entirely by municipal taxes. So the guy who created the worst housing market in North America, forget Canada, by far the most expensive housing market in North America, more expensive than New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago. Carney says that's exactly who we need in charge of housing. Like, talk about failing up. So the first thing that would be different is I would have never named someone like Gregor Robertson. He is the exact epitome of everything wrong with housing in Canada today. As for your question about balancing keeping home prices up versus them coming down, look, the money from a home today does not go to the buyer, the seller, or the builder. It goes to the government. We have to, it's like today, right now, the housing costs are too low for builders to build and too high for buyers to buy. And you would say, well, how could it be both of those things? Well, because the lion's share is going to the government. It doesn't go to these guys. The guys who swing the hammers back here, they're not getting the money. The money is going to government bureaucrats, municipally, provincially, and federally. And what I'm saying is, let's cut the government cost out of housing. Get rid of the sales tax, cut the development charges in half, speed up the permits, zero tax on reinvested gains. If you get the government cost out of building homes, then the buyer, the seller, and the builder will all be winners at the same time.
I think, like, are we addressing the hindrances to supply? Like,
Right.
like, the hindrances to putting more houses on the market, building houses. It's a green code regulations that are these municipalities are imposing for some godforsaken reason, and the feds routinely go around the provinces, except they don't do that in Alberta anymore after some threats from our provincial government to our municipalities. But like, the feds are contaminating our housing market with these onerous regulations that prevent builders from even considering making more houses. And then we've got, of course, immigration, which artificially inflates the housing price. Well, and it's not, I say artificial, but it's not artificial. It's regular old supply and demand. We are not building houses, and then we've got more competition for the existing houses.
And the disparity between these two people, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre, on their approach to solving this issue just couldn't be more staggering.
Sure.
Whereas Pierre Poilievre is saying, we want government out of the home building sector. We've got private industry that would more than happily take up this cause. And Mark Carney is on the other end of it saying, no, this must be regulated by the federal government. The federal government must be intimately involved.
Get in your Brookfield pod.
In the housing sector. And so just their approach to solving this problem it is so different. But I would argue that opening a free market and letting the market decide how it's going to respond is the best course of action, because while we have so many newcomers flooding into the country, what it's doing is pushing everybody on the lower end of, the lower fringes of our society out of their housing. So not only are the decisions of the federal government negatively impacting the housing crisis, but they're making it worse by accelerating immigration still. So,
right. And actually making it worse for the homeowner or the prospective homeowner, but making it a lot better for the likes of Brookfield. And that is always what we need to look at.
Yes.
If there is a person being appointed, if there's a government decision, what you need to do is Google what it is or the person that it is, plus Brookfield. Hit search and then stand back and watch.
And you'll find the link. So this is a government that's creating the problem and then coming in with Brookfield with the very, very costly solution. Like it is crazy that this is being allowed to happen. And yet this is where we find ourselves in Canada.
Yep. We've got another video, I think, from the exact same press conference. Someone asked Poilievre if he'll put Canada first after taxpayers have already sent billions to Ukraine. Now, I'm not even, Ukraine aside, billions on all manner of nonsense all around the world.
All sorts of foreign aid, yes.
Right. And I'll save my remarks about Ukraine afterwards, but let's just watch the question and the answer.
Parliament is opening soon, and you wrote a letter to Prime Minister Carney that to-do list from all the crises, from immigration crisis to the housing crisis to the crime crisis and to the job loss crisis, all the crises are there. So my question is, we, the Canada, we gave billions of dollars, 22 billion plus $25 billion to Ukraine. How justified is that when our own people are struggling high time, big time, because since last couple of years, you are also highlighting the crisis and crisis and crisis. So how to fix? Canada first, we have not seen the Canada first approach by any of the political party. Canada first, we have seen that other countries are coming first. Taxpayers' money are going out of country. How justified is that? Thank you.
Well, the best way to put Canada first while helping Ukraine is to sell our oil and gas in Europe.
Good answer.
The reason Putin can fund his war is because he has a near monopoly on Western European oil and gas purchases. If we had the Energy East pipeline, we could be selling 1 million barrels of Canadian oil to Europe every single day. If we immediately approved LNG plants, we could liquefy tens of billions of dollars of natural gas and send it to Europe to fully displace the Russian sales of gas into that continent and put it into Canadian paychecks. So Mark Carney and the Liberals have blocked every single LNG project that has been put before them. And as a result, we only have one plant. It's on the West Coast, approved by Stephen Harper. If you want to defund Putin and squeeze out all the money that he's using to fund the war, then let's immediately start approving pipelines, LNG plants, export terminals, and send tens of billions of dollars of clean, ethical Canadian natural gas and oil to Europe. Instead of the money going to Putin's war machine, it will go to the trades workers in this country. That is how you put Canada first.
Okay, that's a really good political answer, but he didn't really answer the question. And I should tell you, the day the war started between Russia and Ukraine, I did that video. I did a video saying, this is how you, if you are, you know, anti-invasion, look, I'm anti-invasion. I'm also anti-throwing money at a forever war. I'm also anti-throwing money into a corruption pit. I don't think that's a responsible use of the money.
Yes.
I think that Ukrainian refugees are culturally compatible with Canada, especially us here on the West. Their churches are here. You could take Ukrainian immersion at school. They hit the ground running. So there's a more nuanced answer here. And that the question was not answered. Now, yes, Canadian LNG offsetting Gazprom. Yes. So even if the Liberals thought there was no business case for Canadian LNG, which is insane, by the way, because the Americans sure think there's a business case for their LNG. But even if you thought that there was always the moral case. And so they never pursued that, not even once. The war's been going on for years, and we still have no way of getting LNG offshore in the East into Europe to end the funds that the Western world is delivering to the Russian war machine. So I can look, there's a very nuanced argument here, but unfortunately, Poilievre didn't say, okay, we're not going to send more money to Ukraine without tangibles attached.
Right. Right. Well, I thought that he handled it brilliantly, because when we think of Canada in terms of our participation in the war in Ukraine, we have to ask ourselves, are we going to be helpers and provide a resource that would immediately improve the quality of life for people in the region? Or is our response going to be, well, we're going to send our babies over there to fight? Because that's the liberal, that is the liberal.
Exactly.
This is where the Liberals are taking us. They are saying in public that they're they are going to have all options on the table, including boots on the ground. These are
Right.
Canadian young people that they are low-key threatening to send to a war zone. What would we rather provide to that entire situation? I think LNG and Canadian oil and gas is about the safest and
Right.
most productive way that we could help. But we need a government to make those kind of choices, and we simply don't. Mark Carney would rather send our children into a
Right.
conflict zone than provide LNG and energy
Right.
security to this region of the world. It is patently insane. It is
Right.
patently insane.
Do you
It
know what?
shows
Let's put it
how
this way.
yeah.
For Mark Carney, he hates Western Canadian oil and gas more than he hates Putin.
He hates Western Canadian oil and gas more than he cherishes the young people of Canada.
I think we know that.
We
Yeah.
oh, it's
Yeah.
obvious. It's
Yeah.
obvious because he's willing to send them into a war zone.
Right.
So
Well,
this
and make sure that they don't have houses, make sure that they don't have access to healthcare, make sure that they don't have access to jobs.
he's lining up our economy so that the military, the Canadian military, is one of the only employers for young people. Like it is so nakedly
Right.
obvious what he's doing. And this is certainly not what I want for Canada's youth. Either we are accepting of this culture of violence and war and conflict, or we're not. And I don't
Right.
think that Canada is willing to send their babies into that
Well, and
situation. I
let me
just really don't.
preface that by saying I think the military is a noble, admirable career. It is the people who
Yeah,
willingly sign up to our military, they deserve better. Them being the best of us, they deserve a better from our Canadian government, who are going to spend a bunch of money on greening the military instead of on you, our military service
on
people.
on
But
on
I
on yeah, on queering the military,
right.
on degrading the military. I can like there is a difference between active service members
Yeah.
who are there for honorable reasons and who are good people, and
And
the
the
institution that is failing them and
right.
us.
And I want a whole host of choices in jobs for our young people
Yes.
instead of the job of last resort
Yep.
for
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Uh,
Agreed.
is speaking on the job of last resort, there's a reason for that. It's the temporary foreign workers in this country that are snatching the jobs from our young people. And this is from the Toronto Sun by way of the Canadian Press. Almost half of Canadians want the temporary foreign worker program gone. A new poll suggests 44% of Canadians want to see the temporary foreign worker program scrapped. I think that number is actually quite low,
Yes.
because I think a lot of people confuse the temporary foreign worker program with just immigrants. And
Right.
so they're cautious to say we want, that program scrapped, because I think they're confusing the two. If you say these are unskilled laborers from the third world or
Mhm.
developing countries coming to Canada and displacing young Canadian workers in entry-level jobs, do you think that program should continue? I think the majority of people in this country would say no.
Yes, agreed. It's all in the way that the question was poised. Like it's
Yeah.
all in the way that they framed the question. Um, but if we're considering that the temporary foreign worker program is but one arm of the many, many, many arms that
Yes.
people can use to access the country, I think that the vast majority of Canadians want to take a hard look at the entire
Right.
thing.
Right.
That this is
By the
and
way, hang on before you go on. If
yeah.
you are watching right now and you are an immigration lawyer, expert, whatever, please reach out to me, Sheila at rebelnews.com. I would love to talk to someone who can explain these different
Programs, pathways.
pathways into the country, because I know that there is a temporary foreign worker program that is outside of the traditional temporary foreign worker program, and you can get a work permit as a temporary foreign worker without even going through this, this pathway.
Yeah.
And I want to know how that happens, why the heck it's happening, and why we're allowing any of that. So if you're somebody, it's Sheila@rebelnews.com. Don't send me your anecdotal stories, guys. I get them all the time. And I know them. I see them. I go on the LMIA website also. But if you are somebody with a background in immigration, if you're an immigration consultant and not one of the bad guys, if you're an immigration lawyer, do reach out to me. Immigration researcher, reach out to me and let me know.
Just you saying that and having this conversation reminded me of a time in radio when I was working on radio. So for anybody that doesn't know, I spent 10 years on conservative talk radio here in Saskatchewan. And it started, so when we started talking or hearing about migration patterns through the world, it was Syria, through Turkey, through Greece. Then it infiltrated all the way up the coastline into England. And I remember saying on the radio, well, but we're so lucky here in Canada because we have a whole ocean between us and these migrant people, without considering that our evil federal government would load up airplanes and ship them here by the millions. Canada has seen an increase in population. I think it was like 35%. Did I read 30? An increase of 30?
It's not by way of people like you having a whole gaggle of kids.
That's right. No, these are full plane loads of people actively through COVID arriving in Canada and displacing all parts of our society, like disrupting all parts of our society. And I remember, I just remember thinking, well, aren't we lucky to be all the way across the ocean? Nobody's going to arrive on our shores in a little rowboat. Nobody's going to stumble over the border from the United States claiming asylum. I mean, you got it good in the United States.
My favorite part. Sorry to interrupt. My favorite part during COVID was we knew the coronavirus, COVID-19. We knew that it was coming from China, and they never ever really stopped the flights from China. They just put signs up in Chinese at Pearson saying, wash your hands and wear a mask. And I'm like, why don't you just stop those people from coming instead of locking us up? But no.
Yeah.
That would have been racist.
I saw something yesterday that temporary foreign workers or asylum seekers or refugees, I'm not sure what the title was, but the people that came into Canada during those dark days of COVID, when all of us were locked down, when none of us could even go for lunch with friends, when our kids were kicked out of school, when the entire world was falling apart, we were importing people from across the world that were not vaccine compliant.
No,
it's just wild. Like it's like they needed to get us all to stay home and be isolated while they did this thing in the background.
Yeah.
And so now we're all real aware of just exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, I remember Alexa reporting from the border in Quebec. And we got, I think it was access documents. They didn't even check for these illegal migrants' vaccination status. They're just like, get in here. And it's like, but they check my vaccine status before I can order a draft at the bar.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what a wild time to be alive. Like, just what a wild time. Like, never forget.
And then
never forget Canada. That's what they did to us.
Yeah. And I kept saying, it's not about health, because obviously they're not doing the things that if it was as bad as they say it is, they would be doing these things here. They just seem to be doing all these things to us.
Yes.
But I was a crazy person at the time.
Not wild the way that all panned out anyway.
On the topic of a stopped clock being right twice a day, David Eby in BC, the NDP premier there, in a rare moment where the NDP goes back to their working people's roots, he says the temporary foreign worker program is failing to prevent abuse and exploitation. Oh, I spoke too soon. I thought he was concerned about British Columbian workers. Yeah. Seems like he's only concerned about the temporary foreign workers. And look, I am too, but you can't be exploited in Canada if you aren't here. So I think that's probably what's best. But he's looking out solely for the temporary foreign workers and not the British Columbians, I think. Let's watch.
But when I see that the Wall Center Starbucks is getting an LMIA, or trying to, for a manager, or that the Richmond Boston Pizza is trying to get an LMIA for a manager of their restaurant, I don't believe that they can't find a British Columbian on their team to promote to manager. I don't believe it. And so when young people look at this and they see that and they screen cap it and they put it on social media and they say, this program's not working, I'm searching for a job, I can't find it, why don't you train me to be a manager? It's a corrosive and problematic thing. We need confidence in our immigration system. We need an immigration system that protects workers in this province from exploitation, that ensures that no matter where you're from, that you're safe at work, you're paid a decent wage, and you're looked after. We need an immigration system that ensures that predatory employers are not able to use the temporary foreign worker program to depress wages or to deny opportunities to other workers that would insist on their rights, that have the opportunity to go somewhere else. But most importantly, we need an immigration system that can give hope to people, whether they're new arrivals or not, especially young people, that they can build a good life here, they can have a good home here, they can build a family here, because that's what's built this province over generations, and that is what will continue to build this beautiful province we live in.
But there's just a whole bunch of mixed messages there. He's not necessarily wrong on any of those points, but the whole point of people's objections to the temporary foreign worker program, first and foremost, are that these jobs are not going to young Canadians. They are going to people from other countries. Secondarily, we don't want to see temporary foreign workers exploited. And I don't really think he quite understands the issue in its entirety.
No, because David Eby exists in a bubble, right? He exists in such a tight elite bubble that he does not see the things that are actually happening right in his own backyard. I know I've told this story before in this program, but it bears repeating, special just for David Eby. About a year ago, we were in British Columbia, in Victoria, where a province that was welcoming 10,000 people a month at the time. Okay, 10,000. British Columbia was absorbing 10,000 newcomers every single month. So what that did was push all of the vulnerable people already in British Columbia out of their housing. We had an experience with a very old woman. I would say she was in her like 70s, mid 70s, who was recently made homeless within 5 blocks of David Eby's workplace at the legislature in Victoria. And he didn't see how immigration was impacting the people of BC. Not only are they ignoring our young people and their ability to gain entry into a career path, but they are also decimating our old people who cannot afford the prohibitive prices of BC housing and cost of living.
Right.
So they're like the embracer of like David Eby embracing this, embracing the worker. Well, no, David Eby, you've already decimated your young and old people.
Right.
So who are you working for? The people of British Columbia or the immigrants? Like pick one. It can't be both.
Well, and you still got to put the temporary foreign workers somewhere. They need to be housed. So when you look around British Columbia and you're like, oh my goodness, how does anybody afford to live here and do anything else? Like, I feel like you just worked for your housing there, and there's no idea of like owning a car, or even dreaming of taking a week off work so you could go do nothing somewhere. That is all part of the same spectrum of issues around immigration and temporary foreign workers, whatever, and he's just sort of missing it.
All of the points. Like David Eby, tone deaf. Helen Keller level tone deaf.
Yep. We've got, oh, I wrote this up this morning, because this hit my email inbox this morning from Harris and Partners. 9 out of 10, and this is from like a insolvency company that helps people deal with insolvency. 9 out of 10 Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck. That is absolutely no surprise to me whatsoever. It was 1,100 Canadians conducted in September 2025. So this is just recent data. Shows 88.9% living paycheck to paycheck. More than 6 in 10 said they relied on credit cards, loans, or borrowing. This is not to have a luxury. This is to cover basic expenses in the past year, while 80% reported cutting back on essentials such as food, heating, or transportation. The other findings of the study showed that 71% could not cover an unexpected $500 expense without borrowing. 80% reported having no emergency savings. That is catastrophic. 81.4% said they feel financially stressed. I believe it. 67.4% said they blamed themselves for their financial struggles. Now, people can definitely be irresponsible with their money. That's for sure. Look, I'm from the oil patch. I've met a lot of 5-minute millionaires on payday in my day. But when you look at the spike in inflation, the spike in the cost of living, just groceries. I fancy myself to be an expert in groceries. And we used to play a little game, take mom to Costco, and she could guess like a $500 grocery bill. I could guess it within $5, $3. If I was under $5, I was doing good. But I could usually get it within $3. And just by looking, okay, that's how frequently I buy groceries and how trained I am at the math of it all. I have no clue what groceries cost anymore. Like, I'm always surprised because what used to cost $400 is now $550, or what used to cost $30 is now $75. Like, it just, nothing makes sense anymore. Thank goodness I have a freezer full of beef, because I don't know how people who aren't able to do that or don't have access to that feed their families anymore. I have no clue. I grow food and I have a freezer full of beef.
But you're seeing this reflected in people's behaviors, like where we the rise of egg producers, people raising chickens, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not for, we like to play it off like, yeah, I want to be a chicken lady, like it's some sort of, but it's not. It's because it makes it less expensive to feed a family. And nobody, and I think this polling is accurate in that nobody in Canada is spending frivolously anymore.
I don't think so.
It's not like we're not impulse buying anymore. Like, you got a list, you're sticking to it. You have a budget, you're sticking to it. And as a matter of fact, I have an app on my phone from one of Canada's biggest grocers, we'll say. And they launched their app in 2017. I went back and looked. And my order in 2017 was like $130. But they have a feature in the app where you can just rebuy everything on the list, just repurchase all, just repurchase it all. And in today's prices, it's almost $400.
I believe
so
it.
So prices have tripled, if not quadrupled, in grocery stores in the last 8 years. That is insane.
Yeah.
That is just patently insane. How that people are hanging on by a thread, absolutely not surprising. Are we right here with you? Absolutely, yes.
Completely. That's why I have a big garden and beef in the freezer.
I
Buy
know,
it in bulk.
Every time I start talking about chickens, my husband's like, Lise,
Yeah.
Girl, no. I know you think you'd like it. I know you think it's cute, but that is farm life. Yeah. I still think I would.
You'd be fine. Chickens are magical. You give them garbage, they give you food. How could you not have a chicken? Kids would take a lot of joy in feeding chickens watermelon rinds.
Don't. And many hands make quick work, right? So I would have a bunch of little farm hands built in with my family of little helpers. So I just see farm life in my future. We're just going to put it to the universe.
Micro farming.
Yes.
Okay. One last thing before we hit the break is from Ryan Garrettson, who you all must follow on X. This is from our friend Susie. Premier Susan Holt.
Oh, Susie,
Um,
Suze.
Susan Holt, she's bragging about a food program and how excited she is to bring a school breakfast program to New Brunswick. I would be announcing that program with great sadness and dismay that it was necessary. But let's
Yeah.
listen to a little bit of Susan. I don't want to listen to 2.5 minutes of Susan, but oh God, somehow she's become more obnoxious since her election just to look at. And I realized that it didn't properly blend my makeup, so I might be that person too today. But yeah, she's bragging about this new food program, but the problem is parents can't afford to feed their kids in New Brunswick, and you should be sad about that. But she's very thrilled.
Good morning, New Brunswick. I am still smiling from the launch of the school breakfast program last week. I'm proud to see that commitment roll out. Every public school and every student across our province will now have access to a free breakfast. Better mornings, better learning for all. Here's what I've got on this week. Today, I'll be presenting the Council of the Federation Literacy Awards to Marie Doiron of Brantville.
Yeah, I don't need to listen
Ginny
to it all. Yeah. She's just thrilled. She's thrilled that she is in charge of a province where you have to have a hot breakfast program for every child in the province. That is a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And you should be very, very sad about that.
It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing where your economy is not doing well enough so that parents can afford to feed their own children. That's what the tactic admission is behind this sparkling announcement. Suze is just so pleased with herself. When in reality, it is not the job of the taxpayer to feed anyone else's children. Okay, those children belong to their parents, and their parents should be doing well enough so that they can feed themselves. Why are we bragging about a food program? Like the government supplies prisoners their food. Are we delighted that we're feeding school children prison food?
Right.
Canada? Like, is this something that we're gonna brag about? It is crazy.
Like Susan Holt should be treating this hungry kids at school like the emergency that it is. She should be looking at everything she can do within her government to make sure that those parents are able to earn a wage to feed their kids. Repeal regulations, complain to the feds, ask them why they haven't approved. She should be asking herself why they're not fracking the daylights out of New Brunswick so that these people have good paying jobs. She's not doing that.
No.
And I think it's a catastrophe.
Well, and then you have to beg the question, where does this end? Where does this end? So today it's breakfast. They're going to get your kids an hour early into the breakfast room in the indoctrination camp. Then they're going to say, oh, and we're also providing them lunch. Don't worry about it. We'll keep them at lunch. Then they're going to start feeding them supper. Then they're going to start saying, well, you may as well just sleep over. You're here all the time. You eat here all the time. We are doing such a great job. Like, this sounds like a slip into claiming the children. This is exactly why I bring my kids home for lunch. Every day my kids come home for lunch. We have a check-in around the table, what they've done midday, but like the least amount of time that your kids spend at public school, the better. Okay.
Right.
The more time you can keep them away from that influence, the better. We see what public education has done to students in Canada. We see the things that they embrace, and we're saying no thanks to that. We can handle this all at home.
Let's hit an ad break, and then we'll come back on the other side with that Toronto Star cartoonist, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just absolutely getting roasted, rightfully so.
say it is time to make Canada great again, and that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.
All right, before we get into the Toronto Star cartoonist, although I don't know if there's anything that he could do that AI can't, as our friend 222 shows in response, I want to give everybody a quick message from our friends at TWC Health. Are you and your partner struggling to conceive? If you took the COVID vaccine, there is cause for concern, and you're not alone. A recent study led by Danish researcher, and I'm so glad they spelled this out phonetically for me, Vibeke Minichi, analyzed birth data from women ages 18 to 39 over a 2-year period starting in 2021. The findings suggest a significant decrease in birth rates among vaccinated women, with data indicating a reduction in egg count by nearly 60%. Since 2021, many regions around the world have seen a significant decline in fertility rates, together with an increase in miscarriage rates. The wellness company created the 3-in-1 Ultimate Spike Detox, crafted with 100% natural ingredients, specifically designed to help your body clear harmful spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support overall health. Don't wait. Experience the only formula approved by Dr. McCullough, a top freedom-fighting doctor who risked it all. Head to twc.health/rebel and use code REBEL to get 10% off plus free shipping for our American friends. So Spike Detox your body today. I know a lot of people took the vaccine, not because they wanted to, but as a prophylactic against unemployment. And I know that people have regret and fear about that. And perhaps this is a way to get some help.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to take it. I'm going to go on it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Theo Moudakis. Every time he posts something that he thinks is just so clever and so smart, he gets absolutely roasted. The internet fixes him every time. And yet he comes back for more. I don't know what they're paying him at the Toronto Star to take this kind of abuse, this self-flagellation ritual that he performs once a week. But here it is. And his gross misunderstanding of what we are doing in Alberta to keep the smut away from the little ones. That, of course, is Danielle Smith, that's not even a good caricature of her. We must protect the children from this, and it's Archie Comics. Yes, because something as wholesome as heterosexual children in the Archie Comics, we would be banning that and not the absolute smut that was uncovered in Alberta libraries. School libraries.
But this is exactly what the left likes to do. They like to extrapolate on a really good sound common sense policy and say, but it applies to the Archie comics, that it applies to The Handmaid's Tale. It applies to, no, guys, what we're saying is Danielle Smith is reining in these crazy left-wing lunatics that have taken over our public institutions, including throughout the entire public education system in Canada, and rescinding the books that had no business being in children's hands to begin with. to
Yeah.
begin with. But this is what the left does. So let them have their little hot take. But what 222 minutes on X
Oh
did,
gosh.
okay, how he eviscerated this comment is just one for the ages. He has a way of cutting through all the baloney pretty quick.
Yep.
And
Yep.
222 minutes posted
A fixed version.
a fixed version.
I should have warned people because those are the actual books that were
Right.
banned. These
Right.
graphic images, and I apologize for not giving you a warning in advance.
Yeah.
This is what's coming out of the school libraries. And this, by the way, that stuff, that's what the teachers' unions and the Edmonton Public School
Yes.
Board
Are defending.
is not just offending, angry and spiteful that they can't show to other people's kids. If you want to show this to my kid, you better run from me. I hope you worked on your cardio, because I'm not one to solve my problems with aggression. But I just might, because I'm worried about the kind of person who thinks this is acceptable.
Yep.
The Edmonton Public School Board, in response to the banning of graphic homoerotic images from other people's kids, decided they're going to ban, and they're going to have a tantrum and muddy the waters. So they banned things like The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, which was quite ironic because they were the ones manipulating the truth in a grand Orwellian fashion by saying that The Handmaid's Tale and Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, and 1984 were in the same boat as this grotesque nonsense.
Yes.
And so Danielle Smith had to clarify for the idiots in the back. This is we have to add in that we're protecting the classics while keeping the pornography out of the hands of other people's children. Why? Because they needed to fix the tantrum
Yes.
that the Edmonton Public School Board and their weirdo teachers pulled.
Yes. No, you know it's bad when the government has to step in and fact check the public institutions.
Twice now.
Yes.
They had to do that when they first launched it. And then again this week when they said, you got there's no mistaking. There was absolutely no mistaking at the very beginning. This is what we need to get out of the classroom. Then they said, oh, this isn't any classrooms. What? You're just a solution in search of a problem. So then the minister said, actually, here's where we found it.
Yeah.
And then they pull the classics and the premier has to say, there's no mistaking, but I'll make sure that you don't mistake it.
Right. And what they had to do is correct the left wing and the left wing media structure from claiming that this was an all-out assault on freedom of expression or free or the freedom for children to access this. Nenshi has come out and said, we're on the side of kids getting, accurate information from their libraries or whatever Nenshi said to defend this, when in reality, Nenshi is claiming that we have to fund the classrooms. Funding the classrooms is exactly what got us into this mess to begin with. So if you take your average classroom of 30 kids and you apply that per student funding, classrooms in Alberta are getting funded upwards of $500,000 each. Are we getting $500,000 worth of value out of this? Or are we getting a monstrously bloated bureaucracy that allowed this to happen?
Right. By the way, I think Jamie Sarkanak did the numbers on that. And she pointed out Alberta's students are overachieving according to the national standards. So if they are overachieving on less money, what's the problem?
Right.
Maybe we're spending too much money on this nonsense.
Well, I think we've complicated things to the point where people like Danielle Smith have to come in and lay down the hammer on them because they took such liberties with what they deemed appropriate for other people's children, that now society has to take those liberties back. We are not okay with our kids being influenced by this kind of smut in the schools. We don't want our kids to have access to it. And as a matter of fact, we don't want our kids to be exposed to it in any manner. And I got to say this again, for every book They're taking out of Alberta schools every inappropriate book. They're taking out of Alberta schools. There are hundreds of digital resources that these crazy, insane teacher unions have proliferated throughout our entire
I
education
think this
system.
legislation captures the digital resources, if I understand the update yesterday.
Well,
A-
at best, yeah, at
and
best, good.
and there's these teachers acted up because I think they could have gotten away with a lot more than they're going to get away with now. Because not only does this piece of legislation capture the digital resources, but they also have to have they basically have to make a library for their library, as in parents should be able to see every single book that's in your library
Every
now.
single book that's in the library. I want to okay the books before my kids get them in their hands. That's where
So-
I'm at with this.
So they probably could have gotten away with sneaking in other titles, but now
Right.
parents know all of you are a bunch of weirdos and we need to be wary of all the stuff that you're trying to do. And now we can look online and see
Yes.
what you're up to. So
Yes.
careful what you wish for, jerks, because you just might get it. And now you got it. And I couldn't be happier.
And I would just like to add that this is not exclusive to Alberta, that Danielle Smith is tackling it. It is incredible and overdue and absolutely necessary, but other governments should follow
Yeah.
suit. There is
Doug
no
Ford,
reason. Oh, there's
Scott
no
Moe.
reason. There's no reason why the government of Saskatchewan shouldn't be doing a full library resource review, a full
Right.
curriculum review. Parents are saying we don't want radical gender or crazy erotica exposed to our kids. And that's not too much to ask for. It's really, really not. So as fast as these other governments can follow suit, the better off we'll be.
Let's go to this video from Alexa Lavoie in Montreal. And then we'll invite people to come to our birthday party. And then we have 3 daily cringes today. So Alexa shows us this video, or is it a video? No, it is a video. The Lion electric buses, which are expensive and don't really work, on fire in Montreal. And this company, if I recall correctly, they really, the city of Edmonton, don't quote me on this, I think they got ripped off on these Lion electric buses.
Oh, without question.
Because they don't really work here.
Yeah, the city in our cold temperatures, in our cold weather temperatures, the city of Regina is also considering electric buses to achieve their green initiatives.
Oh no, it wasn't Edmonton. We got scammed on a different round of electric buses.
Mm.
But these are the ones. So these buses are, I remember doing the story now. These buses they're electric buses out of a Quebec-based company. The company is now in receivership, and PEI bought a whole bunch of these electric buses for like school buses, and then the school buses just didn't run. And the parents are like, where's the school bus? And they had to drive all their kids to school. And it was because these buses are constantly breaking down. They're just
so unreliable. Unreliable.
Because they're burning down.
Because they're experimental. Let's not forget that every EV, whether it's a small passenger car all the way up to city transit or school buses, they were all experimental modes of transportation. So of course they're going to be
for
unreliable.
California. They're not for us. They're fine for California. That's California's problem. We don't need them here.
It's fine. Charge them on all of your sunshine, but they don't work in our really extreme climate in Canada.
What I understand from Ottawa is that they're not good in the snow either. They're not like they don't.
Should be like, and let me run the cities, because I'd be like, that'd be one of the first questions I'd say. Can it work in the snow? Because we have 8 months of it. Like and if it doesn't pass that test, then we shouldn't be spending money on it.
Like when they were running in the winter, they were constantly stuck in the snow because you just can't stuff her down in one and then just, rock it out. You can't do that. So anyway, hopefully no one was hurt in that because they bought these things for transporting other people's children around. So.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right. There's that too.
Yeah, there's that.
Let's invite everybody to our birthday party, which is quickly approaching, wherein me and Lise and all the other rebels will be in Calgary on September 18th to celebrate our 10th birthday party with you, because without you, there's no Rebel News. So we've got, and don't worry, Toronto, we're going to allow you to celebrate with us too. October 16th in Toronto. Get your tickets at happybirthdayrebel.com. Look how happy Ezra is. Look at him. That's not Photoshop. The hat is, but the
The grin.
exuberance on his
Yes.
face, that's real. That's him telling a funny little story, a jokey little Ezra story, which he loves to do. And you can corner him and get a little jokey Ezra story out of him at our birthday party. People have predicted our demise over and over all the time. And then I watch those same people get unemployed at their mainstream media jobs and then bounce and bounce and bounce to other ones. And so that's been a great joy over the last 10 years, of course, because I do a lot of things for spite. But also to see other companies sort of come in the path that we trailblazed. So at the beginning, we were sort of alone in all of this and sort of watching the Americans to see what they were doing to figure out how we could do some of that here, because they have so much more conservative media there. And then we sort of fought these battles, and other people have come along to the space. And while I guess we're competitors, I really feel that we're peers in this. And
Without question. Yeah.
all of it is only possible through the support of our viewers at home. And that's why we want you to celebrate with us. So we're going to have snacks and music. Tamara Leach is our musical entertainment in Calgary, which is an absolute delight. And we can't wait to see you. It's going to be great. I'm going to be overdressed. Lise is going to be overdressed. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I have for the past several days, Sheila, been filling out my Rebel birthday party dance card. Okay, because this is where we are at with the evening. So I have a list of people that I want to dance with at the Rebel birthday party and have really quick conversations, but need to connect with. And my list is extensive, and I'll let you know how it shakes out evening of. But I'm gonna have my list of people that I'm dancing with. So
if you viewers at home, if you were privy to the Western Standard Hospitality Suite at the UCP AGM this past year, you know that I love to cut a rug. I do. I'm not much of a dancer, but be damned if I don't have stage presence. And so I look forward to cutting a rug with all of you out there, and Lise too. She's going to need a lot of room though, because her dress is Disney villain-esque. Also
it is such a
princess-esque.
It is a perfect 50% villain, 50% princess. That's what the dress is.
That's what my girls described it as. They're like, how can she both be Ursula and the princess at the very same time?
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
All right, let's hit a couple of the chats, because we've got a few here, and then we'll do the daily cringes, because I have a meeting right after this. Ableist SL, $5. Hello, Rebel. I'm here to plug petitions to combat censorship. I will be posting in the links with in the Rumble live streams comments, and this is I can't open it, but maybe Olivia
It's an
can.
Our Commons petition.
So it's an official sponsored by an MP House of Commons petition. So, you know, it's just not a crazy person mining your data.
That's a great idea, buddy. Thanks for putting that in the Rumble chat, and thanks for bringing that to our attention. That's a great idea. You guys,
Mark it.
Work it.
Take advantage of our open comment section to market whatever thing that you're trying to move forward. Even better if you give us some money to read it. Nana Awake. She's a regular chatter, regular donor.
Yeah.
She says schools are legally responsible to keep children safe while in their care. Providing pornography to underage children is criminal, and generally the people who warn children about generally the people who you warn children about and report to the RCMP. Isn't that the truth?
Public schools in Canada serve babies up to those people every day, every single day. Yeah. Safe, please. Public schools.
Yeah. And, you know, but it's because these maniacs have flipped the script, right? They're the ones who say, if you don't affirm every single childish delusion of your child, then you're the one who's unsafe.
That's right.
right? They pit
Yeah.
parents against their kids or kids against their parents.
There is no greater sin on planet Earth than doing that. And we all know who the children belong to. We all know the children belong to their parents. Teachers and educators are transient and temporary influencers in our children's lives, and children should not be making life decisions with people that don't love or care for them. The end.
Yes. Where is it? NIV. Well, and it's so funny that you say it's one of the greatest sins because Jesus believed that too. What did he say about the people who cause the little ones to stumble? Get a millstone. Where is it? They don't actually have my preferred translation, but whoever is the reason for one of these little children who believe in me to fall into sin, it would be better for him to have a large rock put around his neck and be thrown into the sea.
Amen.
So that's Matthew 18:6.
Amen. That's tattoo worthy.
Let's get
We
that
need
on
that
a
on
shirt.
I was just gonna say we actually need a t-shirt.
Yep.
I'm just gonna that's a great thing to give to teachers as a welcome back to school present is a stone.
Just a little millstone.
Mm.
It's funny because that came up in the morning staff meeting. I was like,
Oh, I'm gonna
bring
do
me the
that.
millstones.
Yeah.
We were talking, get me the millstones.
Instead of an apple, we bring a stone, parents.
Just a quick reminder.
Mm.
Silver Feet gives us $5. Someone should send their kid to school with one of those camera glasses so the world can see the madness. Do it for a term. Look, I've got the Meta glasses. They're prescription though, but they work like a dream. I'm always taking pictures of the neighbor's mini donkey with them.
You know, as cell phones and cameras and digital devices are being banned out of schools, and for good reason, they're a distraction. You'd be surprised at how many parents have little hidden cams riding with their little ones to public schools. You would be shocked.
I think teachers should you know how once cops started wearing body cams, it didn't show what the left thought it showed, right? They're always
Right.
like, we got to put the body cams on the cops because they're killing all the black people. And then they show the body cams and the body cams actually exonerate the cops. And the left
Right.
now is like, you got to get the body cams off the cops.
It also changed the way I recall talking about this on the radio too. It had to have been around 2015, 2016, and how wearing a camera changed the behavior of the cops as well. They would behave better if they knew that they could be watched later. It's almost like it keeps everybody on their best behavior.
Yeah. 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 You know what is it? Who said it? When you measure something, you change it.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mark Carney, this isn't particularly cringy, but it's slightly annoying because I'm a runner. So I know what it takes to train to this capacity. I don't distance run anymore like how I used to, because if you look back at me like in 2020, I am very gaunt. Like you can go back to some of my videos and I was terribly thin. And my skin was just like paper thin, and my big bush of hair, well, it was still a bush, but it was not as bushy. I was not an extreme distance runner, but I ran a lot more than I should have. And now I focus more on like weight training. We always say, I like to lift up things, heavy things, and put them back down.
Put them down.
For fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. They're like, get out of her way. People try to help me, and you're always stopping them. No, she likes this.
She likes picking up heavy things and putting it down again. Just watch how happy she is. And she will. That's what she.
I do.
What she likes
I
doing.
just beam like a little ray of sunshine when I get to pick up heavy things and put them back down. But Mark Carney, while our economy has been burning down, has been just working on himself. And look, hit a 5K, get a one and done, like 30 minutes, put your 5K in, you're living your best life. But Mark Carney has apparently trained for a 26-kilometer race while our economy is in free falling as the Americans are threatening to crush us. And at his age, he did well. 58 out of 120 runners with a time of 3 hours and 45 minutes. Okay, admirable. That takes a lot out of a guy. I'm not taking that away from him. You had other things you needed to be doing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
if you are trying to, okay, I would say the same thing of, let's say we had Danielle Smith and all of a sudden she's doing a bikini fitness modeling thing. That's extreme. That's hours a day, every single day. You're cold, you can't eat certain things. Like, it is a commitment, and basically everything else falls to the wayside. Mark, you're in charge of the economy, please.
Well, okay, and this reminds me, viewers, tell me that you remember this episode of The Office when Michael Scott hit Meredith with his car, and then he had the Michael Scott's Dunder Mifflin Scranton Meredith Palmer Memorial Celebrity Rabies Awareness Pro-Am
Right.
Fun Run Race.
Yes, complete everything. I remember it all. And she was bitten by a bat. And she was diagnosed with the rabies when he broke her pelvis, and then he ate a bunch of fettuccine Alfredo before he ran the 5K and then puked. Yes. I remember.
This is giving this Office episode, like, where Michael Scott decides that he has to do something to help, right? Like, this is Mark Carney being Michael Scott in this moment, but just off frame, he's also like Stanley in that he gets in a limousine. You know what I mean? He starts the race, he gets in a limousine, he goes for lunch, he has wine, and then he gets his picture taken at the end of the race. This is what I see for Mark Carney. Like, this is what that's giving. But the whole thing, we have to watch the episode together and pick out the characters, because Dwight is Doug Ford in that episode. Dwight is Michael Scott's Mark Carney's Doug Ford in that episode. Meredith would be the ag sector. Okay, the ag sector is harmed and she's in the bed, and then Mark Carney tries to do a thing with the fun run. The whole thing is so Office coded, it's crazy. But I'm a big fan of it. I'll just end it right here. I'm a big fan of the dad bod. Okay, I love me a dad bod.
Yep.
This ain't it. No.
There's something about the and I was a victim of this, so I understand. Let me be the first to say, I will cast them stones, because I lived in that house. The sinewiness of it all. It's just,
Diana Fox Carney does not look well, and nor does Mark Carney. This does not make you look virile.
It doesn't. Think when they lay in bed, everybody's bones hurt. Like, from just not having enough skin between them and the bones and the mattress. Yeah. Like,
they're at risk of developing bed sores.
Can I tell you though? Maybe Mark Carney, this was made possible not through excessive training. Oh, there she is. Not through excessive training, but from getting all that juicy Griffles blood through their partnership with Brookfield. I think he's just full of young people's blood.
Listen, adrenochrome doesn't come easy. You got to make it come to you. That looks like what's happening here.
No. All right, we got two more, and I know we got to wrap up. Ryan Gerritsen, he posts this video. I think it's from TikTok, of a man summing up what natives hear when Liberals do a land acknowledgement. I can't wait. I haven't watched this, so I already like the look of this guy. This is the opposite of Mark Carney. Let's watch.
Hello and welcome. I'd like to start today's land acknowledgement by saying that I really don't know how to deal with this shame and guilt that I've unnecessarily placed upon myself as a progressive. So instead, I'm just going to virtue signal for the next couple of minutes, because God knows I'd never give up my land or property or piece of my business to any Indigenous folk, or take any kind of real steps towards reconciliation at all. So I'm just going to gaslight you guys and explain to you how this used to be your land, and that it's ours now, and that we're still not giving it back, but we still thought it was necessary to rehash all of this for today's grand opening of this new Tim Hortons location that we've plowed over a pond to build. Now keep in mind, no Canadian or Indigenous person will be hired at this Tim Hortons location. But we'd still like to thank the First Nations community for allowing us to build it on their land either way. Thank you for thinking that I'm a better and morally superior white person for making this about me and my insecurities as a Liberal. So once again, to the Ashto Saga scene people, thank you for taking it on the chin Once again, Miggy Witchy. Northern Liberty out. Don't fucking tread on me.
Oh, that's so
So
funny.
accurate. It is. That is so accurate. The self-importance, the self-flagellation that happens during land acknowledgements. Like, such a great take. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah, and I love how he mentioned that it's unnecessary guilt. Like it's true. And again, at the
Yeah.
Tim Hortons, where there will be no Canadians
Yeah.
or Indigenous people to work there.
Yeah, but then on the other side, because I like to use the language of the left and then apply it to ourselves because
too.
it's fun. We had a land acknowledgement in Saskatchewan that marked the traditional territory of the cowboy, the coal
Right.
miner, the farmer, the chicken ladies. That were on the
Yes.
traditional land of the chicken the sacred, what was this? The sacred bonfire, was there, Sheila Gunn Reid?
No, it was beer cans in a circle on the ground. Do you remember? Was it the Arcola Rodeo? Someone put all the beer cans.
A sacred ring of beer cans. Oh,
Yeah. It was at the Arcola Rodeo.
Perfect. Anyway, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and I'm down for land acknowledgements too. Just to show the craziness of it.
I got to come up with my own land acknowledgement since my family has been here since 1903, continuously.
Let's write that this weekend.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, just in this morning, Swedish Health Minister Elizabeth Lan collapses at a press conference. I was expecting one of those like ginormous health ministers. When I opened this video, I was like, oh, is it like one of those, like the Belgian health minister who you were like,
she biffed. She got a bad case of the Hillarys right there, people. Look at this.
She fell on the podium.
Watch this. Oh, bounced up. That's going to leave a mark.
Ouch.
That's going to leave a mark. But I think that we can agree that it's never good for your health minister to collapse in public. Maybe.
Yeah, no, that's bad. Although I felt like every day that Sarah Hoffman, when she was the health minister under the NDP, that she didn't clutch her chest and fall over, was a day where she was living on borrowed time. And she's still out there as a health critic, and I just felt like at some point they were just making fun of us. Like they were tempting me to say something mean, and I did my very best not to. But it's not great when your health minister looks like they are going to die. No, like they're actively dying of several comorbidities.
Yeah, but this is the way of the NDP. Like all of their MLAs are activists
baiting me.
and have their they were baiting you, and they are laughing at us when they do that. But they do have their preferred activists that like to stay in their area of interest, and Sarah Hoffman would be one of them. Sarah Hoffman would be the one
She was on the school board, just so you know.
Prior. Well, then we know her pedigree. Absolute evil. Absolute. So what you're saying is Sarah Hoffman's decisions at the school board eventually ended up putting homoerotic material in schools. That's what you're saying.
It probably happened under her watch, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because God knows how long that smut has been there.
Since 2017, it got accelerated, I'm telling you, in 2017. Yeah. That's when it started.
Just a quick update to that health minister. She soon returned unharmed and jokingly told the audience, and look, that doesn't look like low blood sugar, because there's actually low blood sugar, like you just get on the ketones and your brain is cooking with gas. But anyways, maybe it affects her differently. This is what can happen when you have low blood sugar. The incident came on the same day Lan was appointed health minister after her predecessor. Oh boy, there's a lot of vowels there. Anyways, after her predecessor resigned suddenly the day before. So she's off to a swimming start at her new gig.
Well, speedy recovery, I guess.
Yep. Do you remember the Belgian health minister? She just looked like an absolute truck of a woman.
I truly don't. But I do know who's replacing, like Theresa Tam, same energy.
Same. Okay, I think that's the show for today, guys. We're back here tomorrow. Tomorrow is Western Wednesdays with the Buffalo panel.
It's gonna be so good.
It's so good. I don't want to say who it is, but you guys must tune in. You have to.
Must watch, must see TV tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow's show is must see TV. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm back here tomorrow with my beloved best friend Lise from Regina, Saskatchewan. Lise, thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, such a pleasure, babe. Anytime. See you tomorrow.
Yes. Thanks to everybody who works behind the scenes at Rebel News, those of you who pitched in to keep the lights on here, and those of you who do the very important but affordable thing, as in it costs nothing, of engaging with our content and sharing it with your friends. It's a great way to help us expand our reach and also rescue your friends from bad ideas. And as we've started saying around here, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.